You have something I want. It will be mine.
Reunite it with its own kind.
Where?
The songs of eons past tell of battles between Mandalore the Great and an order of sorcerers called Jedi.
You expect me to search the galaxy and deliver this creature to a race of enemy sorcerers?
This is the way.
You know this is no place for a child.
Wherever I go, he goes.
So I've heard.
This is the way.
The Mandalorian, new season streaming October 30th on Disney+.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Mandalorian Season 2 trailer video. This is the way. They dropped a bunch of new footage. There's a bunch of Easter eggs here you probably already noticed, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I will be doing episode videos for all the episodes during Season 2, and it's coming in a couple weeks. I'll just number these as we go along to stay organized, but it starts with the footage of Moff Gideon highlighting the Darksaber and his voiceover talking about Baby Yoda belonging to him and how the Mandalorian can't comprehend what he has. You may think you know, but you do not. Giancarlo Esposito talked a lot about Moff Gideon during Season 2 and learning more about his backstory, where he came from, how he got the Darksaber, and the lore of the Darksaber, along with the lore of the Mandalorian culture. You can't really talk about the history of the Darksaber without talking about the history of the Mandalorians, and we got a little bit of that in some teasers during Season 1, Episode 8, when he was talking about each of their backstories, like he knows way more about all the mains than they think that he knows. We got all the flashbacks to the Death Watch Mandalorians rescuing him as a child, so it just sounds like they're going to continue with that same style of storytelling, where something will happen and it will cause him to flashback and remember his training with the Death Watch Mandalorians. The really cool connection there is that obviously they were heavily featured during the Clone Wars. Even Jon Favreau himself on The Mandalorian played Pre Vizsla during the Clone Wars episodes and introduced the Darksaber to the Star Wars universe, even though in the context of the history and the lore, it's actually thousands of years old and was built by the very first Mandalorian to ever become a Jedi. One of the other funny things that Giancarlo Esposito talked about was how many of these props of the Darksaber, the physical props, he actually broke when they were filming Season 2 episodes. He joked that he'd been through about 3 of them by the time they'd been halfway through filming episodes, so he didn't say who he was fighting, but because we have so much Ahsoka stuff coming during Season 2, so much more Jedi and Force lore coming, it just sounds like it's going to be a combination of a bunch of different types of fight scenes, like some sort of fight with the Mandalorian himself, another fight with a Force-sensitive user, it could be with Ahsoka. It'd be really badass to see him have a full-blown lightsaber fight with her, but I don't know how big she's going to be during Season 2, because we don't see her in any of this new footage. She feels like the one thing they're trying to keep secret, but she's being played by Rosario Dawson. All this new fan art that people have been posting seems like a really good approximation for what she'll probably look like during the series. We had the footage of Sasha Banks' character in the hooded Jedi-looking robe in the other trailer when they had the voiceover talking about him finding enemy sorcerers, quote-unquote. Where am I supposed to find them? The armor just tells him that's what you're supposed to determine yourself. You have to just go out and look for them. You have to remember that most of the Jedi that survived the Purge, or former Jedi, depending on how you want to talk about them, or Force-sensitive people that didn't have Jedi training, is that most of the Force-sensitive people that were rounded up later became part of his Inquisitor Corps. They actually covered that during Star Wars Rebels, or they just went to ground and just show up at various points through Star Wars lore and history. One of the few examples of that, obviously Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll learn more about what's going on with him during the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I'll mention that at the end of this video too, because Ewan McGregor was talking about when they're going to be filming that and what the series is going to be like. But we get some more footage of those TIE Outlanders with the folding wings taking off from what seems like Navarro, just from the looks of the planet. It's hard to tell, but there's a lot of footage in this trailer that all seems like it's from the same episode on this same planet. There's a brand new scene of the Mandalorian, Cara Dune, and Greef Karga on what looks like an Imperial ship or inside an Imperial base. I'm assuming that it might be connected to the footage of him escaping from this base later, just from that Imperial signature gray metal behind them. There's more footage of Din Djarin taking off with his jetpack from the Imperial base over this lava flow. All the lava here with the Imperial base also kind of reminds you of Mustafar, so that might be some of the Easter eggs that are going for during this particular episode. Obviously, because in this other TIE Outlander shot, you see this giant lava burst after the blaster shots land behind them. It just seems like this is all connected in part of the same episode. Them trying to infiltrate this Imperial base for some reason, either because they're on a bounty, or they're trying to steal something, or they're trying to rescue Baby Yoda. This is also probably from the same scene with the stormtroopers running down that same looking hallway, and the scene of all the stormtroopers on the speeder bikes later that are taking off, just because the terrain looks very similar. There's another new scene of Cara Dune in the middle of a fight in a very Jabba's palace looking structure. Just look at the architecture of the doorways behind her. This might also be part of the Tatooine episode that they're doing during season 2, or however many Tatooine episodes. We already got a bunch of Tatooine footage with the Tusken Raider in the last trailer, with a speeder bike, and the promise of all the Boba Fett Easter eggs that they've been teasing. Obviously, we also haven't seen Boba Fett, at least that we know of, during any of this trailer footage yet. Timothy Oliphant's character is supposedly also going to show up during these Tatooine episodes, however many they wind up being. Most of the Boba Fett seems like it's going to be pretty light during Season 2, though, and he'll be a much bigger character during Season 3. This new scene of Greef Karga seems like he's operating the gun turret inside the Razor Crest. It seems like a reference to Star Wars A New Hope with Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. Most of the references that they've been pulling so far, especially as of Season 1, were for the original trilogy of movies, but they also pulled a bunch of Clone Wars Easter eggs just because they're so heavy on the Mandalorians during the Clone Wars. But because of when this is all happening in the timeline, you also get a lot of prequel Easter eggs too, so I would expect to see more prequel Easter eggs just popping up throughout the episodes. This scene of him landing amidst all the stormtroopers that he looks like he just canned also seems like it's happening from that same episode at the Imperial base. Like, he trashes all these Imperials, and I think it's safe to assume that they are probably on Moff Gideon's payroll. Pretty much anybody Imperial or any Imperial assets in this part of space seems like it's controlled by Moff Gideon. When Giancarlo Esposito was teasing some of Moff Gideon's other big toys and assets that he has, he made references to having a much, much bigger ship. I think that's just the teaser that he might wind up having an Imperial Star Destroyer. Classic design, of course, because we're talking about original trilogy Easter eggs. Obviously, there's still 1,000 questions that everyone has about the series. We want to know what's going on with Ahsoka and with Sasha Banks' character, just because of the way they connected them through the last big trailer. The voiceover talking about Jedi while they show you Sasha Banks' character.
And an order of sorcerers called Jedi.
There were a lot of people that thought that just because of the way Sasha Banks looks kind of similar to what you would assume a live-action version of Sabine might look like, and there have been rumors about them doing live-action Sabine, that might be who she's playing, but I think that's a bit of a long shot. I think if we see Ezra Bridger or we see Sabine, they would show up on a separate TV series that focuses more on the Rebels characters. Like, there is rumors about them doing a live-action Ahsoka TV series in the future. And if you didn't see the news, Disney actually just announced that they're actually refocusing their entire core business of movies and TV shows on streaming and Disney+. Like, they're still going to release movies in movie theaters like you would expect them to, but most of the time now all the development of their big projects is mostly focused on Disney+. So it just sounds like they're doubling down on the big budget, really big splashy content for streaming. That's been one of the biggest complaints about Disney Plus so far, is that all they really have in terms of huge content right now is The Mandalorian Season 1, and it's been pretty dry since that ended. We do have all the Marvel Disney Plus stuff coming up that's in the pipeline, but it takes them a while to get those episodes out. So the Avengers WandaVision episodes are supposed to premiere after the Mandalorian Season 2 episodes, and this is the schedule of all the Mandalorian Season 2 episodes. They start October 30th, and they do one episode per week all the way up to December 18th. So pretty safe bet that the WandaVision episodes will start premiering sometime during either like that last week or two of the Mandalorian episodes, if they overlap just a little bit. But they could always wait till after all the Mandalorian episodes are done and just premiere it during Christmas week. 2020 may have been a crap year, but I think 2021 will be a little more solid in terms of content that big studios are releasing. Not just Marvel, but all the big studios. Obviously, all this trailer footage is only a fraction of the stuff that they're doing during The Mandalorian Season 2, though, so everybody let me know in the comments what other big stuff you hope that they do during Season 2. I've already done a couple videos about The Mandalorian Season 3, they've already talked about a bunch of the big spin-offs that they're doing. For the most part, the show's just going to continue for as long as the characters, the actors, want to keep doing the show, so it sounds like they'll try to get at least 5 seasons under their belt. But by the time we get towards those later seasons, they'll have other Mandalorian spin-off shows. We'll have the Obi-Wan show, we'll have the other rumored shows that they've been working on inside the Star Wars universe. I'll do more bonus videos for The Mandalorian as we get a little bit closer, but leave all your requests in the comments below. While you wait for everything, click here for that brand new Avengers WandaVision trailer, and click here for The Boys Season 3 trailer. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, this is The Way.